basically, let me just share my screen here. Okay. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Producing your show in Zoom? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
So over the last few weeks, we've been working on, some tips and suggestions and best practices on using Zoom to make your productions. There are different Zoom accounts that you can sign up for. The free account allows you to record for up to 40 minutes with 3 or more participants. And today, I was hoping just to go over some basics and show you some productions that we've made over the last few weeks, and then open it up for questions and like a Q&A. But before we get into that, I just want to point you toward this website, bricartsmedia.org/Zoom tutorial. This website has a link to the video that I mentioned earlier. There's a bunch of resources, including production slide decks, a handout, and also some more information on the Produce Remotely class, which Rachel has been helping out with. So be sure to check out this website and check out those resources. So the first thing to kind of note when looking at Zoom is obviously you're going to need to set up a new account and download the desktop application. There are different ways you can get into Zoom. You can use your phone, which a lot of people do, but your phone, unfortunately, with the free account, doesn't allow you to record. So if you want to do a recording, you'll have to download the desktop application to your computer, and then you can record to your computer. Once you've downloaded the application, then you can schedule meetings. You have something called a personal meeting ID, which I go into in the video. And that's the personal meeting ID you would use for quick meetings with people that you know. You don't share the personal meeting ID with on like public forums such as social media, Facebook, or your website. And then I also go into depth on the profile page on the website, where there's some security settings and you can control what participants can and can't do. So these are all really important things to start off with before you kind of get into actually recording. So it's good to check those out. So Rachel, do you want to talk a little bit about best practices?
Sure. So one of the things that you want to do is you want to really prepare before the recording. You want to think about what your show is about. If you're going to show anything, if you're going to do video or slides or anything like that. The piece that I did with Phyllis and Florette, I had already pre-made some slides and added some photos to those that I knew that we were going to speak about in the interviews, because we had already spoken prior to it and figured out kind of what the questions were going to be and what we were going to discuss. The next is audio. You really want to make sure that you're in a good place to record. If you have an external mic, that's super helpful because you get better audio. But even just recording from like a headset or your computer isn't so bad. The ones that I recorded were with just with my computer microphone, and it was fine. But the biggest thing is you want to make sure that there's no noise around, so that your production doesn't have some external noises. Sometimes you can't avoid it, like a siren outside your window or anything like that, but just as much as like if you're in an enclosed room things like that. Lighting, where your light source is. Right now I have a window right here, so that's where my light is coming from. Sometimes I'll put another light here just to kind of balance it out. And your camera placement, you want to make sure that you have a good image of yourself. And if you're interviewing someone else, then you want to make sure that you know, just to tell them to rearrange the camera or things like that. And your background, you want it to be neutral and not too distracting. As you can see behind here, it's just a gray wall. There is some like stuff on for my bookshelves and stuff, but it's not too distracting. There's not like a huge poster behind me or anything like that.
So I want to talk a little bit about various presentations that you can use to organize your shoot. So I use Google Slides a lot, and this is actually a good organizing tool and a pre-production tool. We'll see a couple of short examples later, but in the pilot shoot that I did with Tanika and Shaquem Williams, I used this Google Slides both to, you know, as a way to make kind of like a teleprompter. You know, I used it to read off of their bios, and also to show some images while they were talking about their artistic practice. So you can embed images. You can also embed videos. So if you have a roll-in, you can put that in the slideshow. It's very easy to use. It's free if you have a Google account. So I highly recommend checking out Google Slides or using PowerPoint as part of your production. Another thing you can do is you can roll credits at the end, and you can play music. All right, Sean, you want to talk a little bit about recording?
Sure. So when you are recording, you have options. You have an option to record to the cloud, and you also have an option to record, well, 3 options actually. You can record to the cloud, you can record to your hard drive on your computer, or you can record to an external drive. What I've been doing, I've been recording to external drive because I have like a Air laptop. So, you know, a lot of the Air laptops now they don't really have too much space on it. So what I do is I just plug a USB into the side, and I go into the actual functions of the recording of the video, and I just have it to record there. Now, if you are looking to create a podcast, it's another option for you to do that in there as well. By just saving the audio. But yeah, so it's 3 different options if you want to save the actual footage itself. I found it a little bit difficult because I use Zoom a lot. I'm on Zoom a lot. Like a lot of my friends have been wanting to do like parties and, you know, meetups and stuff like that, or just, you know, just speak to one another. So I mean, I do a lot of Zooms, period. But I would just definitely say make sure that you go on there and just, you know, go through the different functions and see different ways to record, because you may not have space and you have you know, something set up beforehand. So all of the things that Rachel List mentioned and that Scott mentioned are definitely important for your production, because it's still a production that you're doing, and you want to make sure that you record it as well. The record feature, I believe it's on right now, so so if you're the person that's in the Zoom and you're not you're worried about it recording, you can just look up and you see it on the top left hand portion of the screen. You guys have any questions about recording your actual program?
Yeah, I had a question, Sean.
Okay, what's up?
Sky mentioned that if you're on the mobile, using your phone, you can't record. Can you give that option over to someone else on the Zoom so they can record, even though you're the host?
Yeah. So you can actually add them as a host on it, and they can record it on their device. We try to check it out, like I said, on the free option. It doesn't allow you to do it, but I believe if you want to actually get a paid account, because we don't know how long we're going to be in this quarantine for, but I believe it's about $12. So if you have $12 to spare, and you want to get the the account that allows you to do a little bit more, you can do that. But you can also, you can allow someone else to come in as a host, and then they can record the actual production itself.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so just to clarify that, that's a good question. So the free account allows you only to record locally onto your computer. If you subscribe to a paid account, then you can record to the cloud, and you can use your device, your phone, to record to the cloud. But the free account does not allow you to record to your phone.
Yeah. So the free account, it actually, I see your message, bro. I'll send that to you. But the free account is, I mean, a lot of times we use our phones because you see how my computer is right now. So I do a lot of different things to kind of like mess with the light and stuff like that. So the phone actually might be a better option for you. And also it might be a little bit better with your Wi-Fi, because you just have to remember while you're recording, if there's a little bit, if it's a little stagnant, that may come up, or if there's a little bit of a pause, that may come up, or whatever. So I mean, it's a few different options. Just test it out, test out everything, test out your Wi-Fi and all that. All that is important parts of your production.
Great. All right, thanks, Sean. Jessica, you want to talk a little bit about podcasting?
I have a question to Sean.
Yeah. Yes.
I was interested in something with recording, like suppose the Zoom you're doing is a rehearsal, and how do you get rid of the lag time, or is there another platform, or do I need an external piece of equipment, or like what is?
You really can't. You just have to make sure that you have like a good Wi-Fi connection. So in my house, because the walls it's an older building, the walls are kind of like hard for the signal to get through the walls and stuff like that. So what I ended up doing while we were on the break, well, not on the break, but in the quarantine, I got an extender. So it was a bit of an issue. So I was just try to find the best place in your house to record, because like potentially that could be part of the recording as well. It's not really a cheat. The only real cheat is just to make sure that you're in a good place with good Wi-Fi connection, because it can affect it. And if you have any other appliances and stuff like that that may throw off your Wi-Fi, just try to make sure that nobody's doing anything. Because last night I was on the Zoom with one of my friends, and I think someone was using a microwave or something in my house, and it totally threw off the whole connection, and I had to like log in on my phone. Same thing happened while we were in a meeting one time, education. So you just have to make sure that you kind of like test out and see what works best in your house.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, let's go.
Hey guys, so in terms like in podcasting, like Sean had mentioned earlier, when you record, you save the files to wherever you're gonna save them to, there'll be 2 files. You'll have your video file and your audio file. That audio file will come up as an M4A file. That is okay. Seems like MP4 is not necessarily go-to anymore. So that is a good, decent audio file. I've already tested it. It can be uploaded. And it's not very large, so I wouldn't even worry about that. It's welcomed on a lot of editing platforms. You can use it in case you want to tighten it up or change things, take things out, or do some editing, so you could do that as well. I've been when I do my podcast now, I think ahead of time for a lot of things, make sure I have all my interview questions. I've been giving them to folks ahead of time, so it gives them time to think about it. So there's no moment of silence or anything like that. I've been using audio directly from my laptop. I'm gonna do another test to see what will happen if I use my wired headphones, and then see how I'll use my wireless headphones. So I'll have an update for that for you guys next week to see if that changes the audio quality at all. And then, but if you have external mics that can connect to your laptop or your computer or whatever you're using, whatever the device you're using, that actually might work just better. But like Sean said, just try to find a quiet space as possible when you're recording. Also, check different locations in your home as well, because I notice when I'm like near my kitchen or in my living room, my Wi-Fi is extremely strong Where versus when I'm in my bedroom, it's so weak, like my iPad won't even hold the signal strong enough. So sometimes even if your internet location may not be that strong, it might be helpful to find different locations in your home where it might be stronger than not. Any questions?
Great. So let's look at some examples. The first example is a show that Sean's been producing called Be Free During Quarantine. Maybe we'll just play a minute or so, and then Sean can talk a little bit about his production process and how he made it, and some things he's thinking about.
Now, hello, we are back. Be Free in the Quarantine. We have one of our I'm not gonna say infamous, but one of our great producers, one of our podcast producers, artist outside of BRIC, dancer. Tell people about yourself or whatever a little bit, because I mean you're a dancer, you're a podcaster, you do a lot of different things or whatever, and we're kind of like introducing people to like a different platform, a way of possibly recording and stuff like that. So yes.
Yeah, I dance. I moved to New York City to dance professionally, but in the process of that, I started singing.
Okay.
And so I've done singing work. I've done some acting work. I just like to say I'm a jack or Jill of all trades, depending on how I'm feeling.
I hear you.
I pick up skills. We're just trying to make some money and be healthy in the same.
So Sean, can you talk a little bit about the show and how you set it up and some of the graphics and things like that?
Absolutely. So the graphics, that Sky, he set that up. I can't take credit for something I didn't do. He actually started the whole thing. A lot of stuff that we're like testing out and introducing, Sky, other individuals are like taking time, and we're doing that as well. But we, are looking at the graphics and different ways to produce things. So it's just a normal production. I tried to have questions like just I mentioned before. I want to let you know what we're going to be talking about, and basically it's just a matter of how people are coping with the actual pandemic of what's going on right now. It's kind of like free flowing. I really don't try to stop anybody from saying whatever. If you can see later on in this, I asked her like a question like, what do you look forward to after the quarantine? And she just simply said like affection, that type of stuff. So it's that type of free-flowing conversation. I did another one with Dr. Susan. She was talking about some coping and stuff like that. So it's basically geared towards what you have going on and stuff like that. But it's also a means to show producers how we can produce a program. You can continue to produce things, because if while we're doing this, it's only probably in your best. It's probably better for you to just continue to do stuff, because you don't want to come back and then you're not able to hit the ground running. So it's very important. Like most of the people in this actual chat, like I speak to on a regular basis. So I just kind of started off with like just reaching out to people that I know had access to certain things, and we can just kind of get the ball rolling. So if you are interested, Jessica and myself would definitely love to talk to you, on our, either like this or podcast style, and we can give you ideas and stuff like that about your production.
Great, thanks, Sean. The next one I want to show, this is actually the Tanika Williams pilot, and I'll just show a couple of minutes of this. Hello, my name is Sky McLeod, and I'm really excited to be talking with Tanika and Shaquem Williams today. The name of our show today is called Wisdom from Life and Community. So this work, Grandma's Vanity, can you talk a little bit about it and what inspired you to make this work of art?
Yes. So Grandma's Vanity was an installation that accompanied a chapel service looking at the ways in which Black women retain and share information. And these are the products that we saw growing up, and just thinking about how important the lesson of self-care and beautification is, particularly when it comes down to survival.
I want play first, and then maybe we can talk a little bit.
Wisdom comes from a stubborn personality that sometimes learns the hard way. Wisdom from a free spirit, wisdom from happiness, wisdom from pain and loss, wisdom from life.
So this is the first experiment that I had using Zoom for production, and I just wanted to show a little bit of it to demonstrate how you might use Google Slides for accentuating an interview. It was a lot of fun, and it, you know, from start to finish, it took about 2 hours of total production, pre-production, and uploading time. So I started off by making a short slideshow where I went to Tanika's website and I pulled some images, and I found some video just to put in the slideshow. I put their bios in, and that took about a half an hour. And then after that, I scheduled a time to meet up with Tanika and her partner Shakim, and we spent about 15 minutes doing a quick run through of how the show was going to go. I showed them the slideshow. I asked them if they had anything that they wanted to add or take out. And then we did a rehearsal of the intro and the outro. And then we recorded for about 26 minutes, 25, 26 minutes. And then it was basically a live to tape show. You know, it didn't go perfectly. There were some audio issues that I ended up fixing in post, but I didn't do any video editing on the piece before uploading it to programming. So it was a lot of fun, and you can watch the whole piece if you'd like on our YouTube channel. Actually, you can watch all of the examples that we're showing today on the Brooklyn Free Speech YouTube channel. They're all up there. Okay, Rachel, do you want to talk a little bit about this, or actually maybe we'll play a couple minutes of Then and Now, and then maybe you can talk a little bit about your production process.
Hello, Brooklyn Free Speech. This is Rachel Guma, and I am with Phyllis Roker. We wanted to talk a little bit about Phyllis, her experience with Brooklyn Free Speech, and her words of wisdom and what she's doing right now during the quarantine. So, Phyllis, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Phyllis Roker, and I'm a public access producer at Brooklyn Free Speech. And the name of my program is Artistic View. And my background, I was born in Miami, and I grew up partially there and in the islands, Bahamas. And I also grew up mostly in New York City, in various parts of New York City. So I think the place where I grew up most was in Bedford-Stuyvesant.
Great, that's wonderful. And you used to teach, correct?
Yes, I taught in the New York City Board of Education as a 5th grade, 3rd grade, and 2nd grade teacher.
And these are some of your students?
Yes, those are some of my students at different places, different events.
Phyllis, how did you get involved with Brooklyn Free Speech?
All right, Rachel, do you want to talk a little bit about this piece?
So first of all, I have to say that it was very challenging to be in front of the camera. And I know that Phyllis felt that way too. So there's a little bit of nervous anxiety there, but it was really great to just, for me, the experience was great to just catch up and check in with Phyllis. And I did another one with Florette that I'm working on right now, the editing. And so, yeah, I did a similar process as Sky and Sean. I created some questions that I sent to Phyllis beforehand, and then she sent me some photos that would be a part of the process. So I made a Google slideshow with that, and I made some, I put some pictures, I put some intertitles in that I knew what we were going to talk about. And at the end, if you watch it, there's a whole bunch of photos of Phyllis's treats, all of her baking activities, and they look scrumptious. So yeah, and then I, after the interview, I went in and I did a little bit of post. I found some music that I wanted, and I put some of the slides in full screen instead of how we had it in the interview. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Great. Thanks, Rachel. And last but not least, we'll listen to a little bit of Jessica's podcasting while quarantined episode. Oh, let's see. Does it work?
All right. How are you doing here? This is Jessica Mason with Brooklyn Free Speeches podcasting while quarantine, and I have Philip Johnson, aka PJ, with me. How are you doing, my love?
I'm good. Drinking my ginger tea.
What kind of tea is that?
It's ginger tea and peach.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
With actual pieces of ginger in it.
Good stuff. Keeping our immune system strong.
Okay, that's what your dad did during this time.
Okay, listen, I'm not upset with you. Hey, listen, we were breathing it in, my sister and I, with orange peels and such.
Mm-hmm.
Steaming them and breathing in the steam. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay.
So the last we talked, you were telling me that, despite being in quarantine and stuff like that, you've been doing a lot of cooking.
Yes, an excessive amount of cooking.
Okay, that's not exactly a bad thing. I know this house has been doing a lot of cooking. As a matter of fact, we kind of did like a whole purge this weekend where we kind of just got rid of a whole bunch of stuff in the house. And I told my sister, I said, because her job was the kitchen. So I was like, you need to do a before and after picture of that stove, because the stove was looking terrible. Clearly, we've been cooking.
Clearly. Been doing the same thing.
So let me ask you this. Were you doing a lot of cooking prior to this? Like when we weren't in quarantine, how was your cooking ratios then?
Before, I would say I would cook maybe once a week if I felt the need to.
Okay.
Like if I really wanted to, I would really cook like a big meal. That's what I mean, big meals.
Yes. And it would last?
They would last like 2-3 days. That's it.
Okay.
Great. Jessica, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So PJ and I had, like I said, I told him the questions I was going to ask ahead of time. And of course, you always ad lib or go off topic for a little bit, but I definitely made sure I got those talking points in that I wanted to make. And we were able to do this in like 20 minutes time. We did a test run the day before with Zoom so that we knew exactly how it was going to operate, how we were going to do things. He knew I wasn't going to use the video, and I promise for anybody who does a podcast with me, I'm not using the video, but he, still got himself all dolled up for the video podcasts and such. So, and then that was that. When it was all said and done, I knew exactly where the files were saved. I saved it. I listened to it. I sent it out for advice before I uploaded it. What I might start doing before is like maybe adding some music in the beginning and at the end, maybe even changing the name, but that's all I could think of at the time.
Great. So again, I just want to remind you all to check out the Zoom tutorial page on the BRIC website. All of these videos are posted there. Some other resources are posted. I know we're going a little bit long, so I don't want to take up too much time, but does anyone have any questions before we wrap up?
Sky?
Yeah.
I had to keep going off on mute. My hostess husband is a carpenter, And since he's home on quarantine, he's doing a lot of his carpentry work. So you heard the drilling, so I went on mute for a little while. But I just made some notes. I sent a couple of comments. Good job. Good job. Challenging, but Rachel, Sean, all of you, great, great. And I feel like a very old director, but as you young folks are coming along, you're doing a great, great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Florette.
Thank you, Florette.
Thank you. I'm copying down the address. Everybody stay well.
All right. Any other questions? Great.
Sky, I just wanted to say one thing for Mother's Day this Sunday. This is Elise. So the programming team is going to be taking video submissions